Good evening, my friends, and welcome to Tabletop Terrain Talks, where we talk about we talk about music interrupting the speaker.
Sorry.
We talk about tabletop gaming, terrain, and other nerdy things. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are talking about homebrew and house rules. What are your go-tos? What do you love to do? And what are things that you thought were official rules? They're actually just community-driven homebrew rules.
Yeah, well, house rules that everybody's using.
Yeah, but first, of course, we have our announcements. And I would like to introduce my sexy, as all get out, co-host for our show today.
Are you talking about Gecko?
My pizza!
I thought you were talking about Gecko.
Gecko, too. Gecko.
From our child. I don't know why this thing continues to get left out.
I don't know either. And it gets filled with different things. So all of our kids have been really into PJ Masks at different points in the last 3 years. And so they all have Halloween buckets that are PJ Masks heads. And their favorite colors are red, blue, and green. And so they do red, blue, and green. Well, our oldest is not a boy, but he gets the red one. He gets out, or it's not a girl.
Yep.
You guys, I have a migraine. My head doesn't feel good.
But he still gets Owlette because he loves red.
Because he loves red. That was what I was trying to say.
So, announcements for this week.
No, we need to introduce you.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Weston.
This is Weston.
Yes. And hopefully you know me by now. I'm hoping after we're about to hit our year.
We may have new people who've never seen you before. The avatars are such an adorable addition. I love the avatars so much,
Hayley
Lumia.
Loves them.
Like, I can't even tell you how much I love the avatars. I saw, Mallory's, I saw you change your avatar from one dragon to another, and I was like, ooh, look, somebody changed their avatar. Like, it is so stupid that it brings me so much joy.
It reminds me, there was a song, Felicity Day. She had her show.
The Guild?
The Guild.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a song, it's, Would You Want to Be My Avatar, or something like that. That it reminds me of.
Funny.
But yes, we love dragons. I honestly, Hayley loves them so much. I'm a little like, I don't know, as a husband, should I be jealous here of how much you love these avatars?
Very much be jealous.
These little dragons.
It's more like our children should be jealous. Anyway.
Yes, they should.
So before we get into TTRPG news and then the bulk of our conversation tonight, we have a fun announcement. Well, okay, I have a fun announcement. I was invited to be a guest. LOL, not stupid at all. Okay, good. I'm glad you don't think it's stupid. But I was invited to be a guest on the Pathfinder actual play show, Parliament of Owls, that is run by Jake, the GM, and it is on Q Time's Twitch channel. And for us, that's like a really big deal because we kind of started watching actual plays with Parliament. I love the dragons. I love the dragons too. They are too cute not to love. Like, they're the sweetest. And when we do some battles, we'll do some
games with the dragons.
Yeah, we'll do some fun games with the dragons. Later, we can do a boss battle, which is fun. But I have the amazing opportunity to play with Parliament of Owls on Q Time, and I am very, very, very excited. They were one of the first groups that we watched as actual plays and learning how to play Pathfinder and whatnot. So
I watched a lot of their
Court of Corvids
game. But I watched their game mechanics. Videos. They were like one of my go-tos for like, how do I play this game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that. Like, in a year we went from watching their videos and being like, oh, to Jake inviting me to be a special guest star. I'm pretty excited about it, you guys. Anyway, so that is going to be on May 6th on their channel, Q Times, and it's Q spelt as if it's the kind of the European way to spell it. It's QUEUE. So yeah, as that comes up closer though, I will give you guys more information. Do we have any? We have 2, possibly 3, more weeks until our current story arc for our actual play will be done. Yes. Which is very exciting. I'm currently GMing that. So if you would like to get caught up, I am posting episodes on our podcast every day to kind of get caught up, and you can get caught up with the show. And then Weston will be taking over as the GM for our final story arc for the Scions.
Which I will warn, this last arc might actually end up being 2 arcs.
Oh, might it? Depending on what happens. But after, kind of just to give you guys an idea of the schedule, we are going to be taking a break for a couple of months after we finish the Scions to really get down and dirty with our homebrewed world, which is what we're talking about tonight with homebrew and all that jazz.
Which will actually be, I'm sure during that we'll run lots of one-shots.
We're going to be doing lots of one-shots and doing our TTRPG
So we're not going to go dark.
No, we're not going dark. Just the show is going to be
in the interim.
Yeah. Anyway.
We got.
There's a lot of information you guys didn't need.
One thing I do want to throw out there for these next story arcs, I am looking for some people who are interested in guest starring.
Oh yeah.
I've got some important NPCs that I would prefer to be PCs throughout the continuation of this story. So if you are interested, hit us up on Twitter, I imagine would probably be the best way.
Or you can shoot us a whisper here on Twitch. That works too.
Whisper.
I think it's weird that they call the messaging
if you know that song, throw it in the comments.
Come on, focus on my face.
But so yeah, if you're interested, let me know, because I am looking for some people to play characters, maybe for 1 to 3 episodes, maybe, and one that would be longer. So. Let me know if that is something that you would be interested in guest starring on the show. And then I think that's all for announcements at this time.
Yep. So let's run into our TTRPG news.
Maybe.
And
up.
Welcome back. And welcome to the very consistent nature of us not changing the date of our TTRPG news.
Maybe they won't notice.
This has become a normal segment for TTRPG news and will be expected in the future.
The weekly update by Weston of the date. Today is Monday, April 11th.
Yes, April 11th. Okay, so our first big announcement this week was made by the Blade Runner TTRPG. They released the first full page of previews for their upcoming game. It's being developed by Free League, and this is officially licensed Blade Runner game. It is set between the events of the original film starring Harrison Ford and the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. According to the news release, the story begins shortly after the Wallace Corporation debuts the new Nexus 9 replicants on Earth, giving players a choice to play either as a human or replicant Blade Runners with different specialties, personalities, and memories. If you are interested in looking at it, you can go to cbr.com/Blade Runner RPG, or just look up Blade Runner RPG. You'll find it.
Yeah, you can find it. It's all over the place.
I'm realizing that the website is kind of complicated, so
yep,
it's a lot of dashes and stuff in there.
Go you Googleize it.
Anyway, so that is available right now. Did it have any kind of indication of like a release date of the full game?
We don't have the exact release date yet, or what the cost will be. From what I understand, let me just check real quick and see if. No, I don't see anything as far as when it will be released. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I shot my shot tonight with Matt Mercer, saying that you should come hang out with us tonight.
Oh, jeez.
And talk about homebrew.
Blade Runner's not the only one that is releasing their previews today or this week. Marvel has released a first preview for its upcoming TTRPG. It's a multi-page preview. It shows us some of the core game mechanics as well as the character sheet and skill progression for Spider-Man. So you want to go see what his stats would be, go check him out. They do this interesting. It's a 3d6 system. So they call it a 3 standard 6-sided. You roll 3 standard 6-sided dice, one of which is the Marvel die. If you get a 1 on the Marvel die, you get fantastic results and something amazing happens. So there's different combinations that you can roll that are the equivalent of a nat 20. Honestly, I don't think they thought that 1 out of 5% chance or 1 out of 20 was enough of crits. So if you're a superhero, you need to do amazing things all the time. So they've got a multitude of ways. If you roll a 6, a 1, and a 6, then an ultimate fantastic roll, which is even better. Combine that with our rules for edges and troubles, which offer dice rerolls. You wind up with a lot of ways to make incredible things happen during the game, maximizing the fun. Is according to Matt Forbeck, one of the lead designers. So if you want to go check those out, just search for Marvel. You can see again Spider-Man, his stats. They kind of use a skill tree method, so a bit more MMO RPG style on that than D&D or Pathfinder use. But go check it out.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Paizo, it was in the news this week a couple of times. Paizo is releasing premium material found on Pathfinder 2nd Edition onto the virtual tabletop forum for, what is it? You didn't write it down.
Foundry?
There we go.
Oh, that wasn't part of the text that
I it wasn't?
Took from the story. No.
The first of these will be the contents found in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Beginner's Box on April 16th. Is that the news though? Is the Foundry thing?
Yep.
Okay, so the big news is that Pathfinder is officially partnering with Foundry, which is a VTT, a virtual tabletop, and they are going to be putting all of their Pathfinder 2nd Edition information on it preloaded so that you can build your characters in the system. They already had a lot of information preloaded. Now it's going to be like everything. They're slowly going to be moving it all onto Foundry.
A lot of what's on Foundry are made by players.
Yeah.
This is official content. We don't yet know how this is going to work. Is it going to cost? Is it going to be like, what's the pricing going to be like for it? We don't know how that works. Honestly, what I think this is, I think they're going to use this as a dry run for their Nexus stuff that they have set up, because they can get it all set up here for Foundry, get people playing it. Then when they release Pathfinder Nexus in a year or so, then they've already got all the content ready to go for the online system like that. So I bet that's the reason why they're doing this. It's a chance to trial run everything before it would come out in that system. So
yeah, and just for those who may not know, Pathfinder has partnered with a company called Nexus, who created D&D Beyond. So all the executive board of Nexus it's the demi-plane guys, and they've created Nexus, which is going to be a Pathfinder version of D&D Beyond, including a VTT and Discord like meeting capabilities.
They're also actually demi-plane's doing it for both Pathfinder with Paizo and also World of Darkness with Vampire the Masquerade. So they're trying to get their the fingers everywhere there. So
getting the fingers in
hopefully it'll come out good.
Yep.
Now, in a little nostalgia story for anyone who's been in D&D for a long time and might remember Dungeon Master from the 1983 classic D&D cartoon,
which I did not know existed until Halloween, at which point I was making fun of a costume that was Dungeon Master, and I didn't realize.
Oh, you made fun of it? Oh.
I didn't realize that was where it came from. I was corrected very fast.
Haley almost got blacklisted in the community.
I did, because I didn't know the show.
But for the 100th champion being released on Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, Wizards of the Coast is giving a nod to their older fans and giving you the chance to choose Dungeon Master as your champion. So if you are old enough to remember the cartoon, which I'll be honest, I wasn't born yet, you get to have some nostalgia and enjoy playing Dungeon Master as your champion.
You were born
1983. I was born in 84.
Oh, that's true. Never mind. All right. And in our last bit of news, on Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel, Jeremy Crawford, one of the game developers for D&D 5e, says that you can expect more new game mechanics that will utilize your hit dice. In much the same way that Tasha's Cauldron of Everything utilized proficiency bonuses in multiple mechanics and abilities, the developers feel that you can do more with your hit dice than is currently being done. You can see the entire video on D&D's YouTube channel, and it's titled Feat Stacking Backgrounds and Hit Dice, which is good because hit dice kind of felt superfluous.
Yeah, well, you used it when you did a short rest, but apparently they're doing some more things. There's going to be some in the Kryn, sorry, the Dragonlance setting. There's going to be some mechanics in there, and then they've planned for their upcoming books quite a few different ways to apparently utilize hit dice. Their thoughts are, don't introduce more mechanics, just find more ways people can use the same mechanics, apparently.
Makes sense.
Is it a question of keeping it simple or lazy game makers? Who knows? You be the judge. Do it in the comments.
I don't think it's lazy game making. I think it's people utilizing what's already there and being creative and being like, hey, we could do something else with this besides just blah, blah, blah.
And it doesn't make you expand your character sheet anymore.
No, it doesn't, which is nice.
Which I gotta admit, I played a little Cyberpunk recently, and that character sheet and skill list is redonkulous. Like, it was hard. We were having such a hard time finding what to add to our role. Mm-hmm. I think the system's awesome, but that was one thing that was like, can we like shrink this a little bit?
And I do wanted to include this week in our community announcements. I do have an announcement that I can put in here, but I just realized that the person's YouTube channel that they sent me is not in here, so I don't know what the YouTube channel is for it. So we will get back to this individual with their announcements. But if you have any community announcements, a bit like a community board, if you just want to get a little bit more light shined on it, if you have a new Kickstarter, show starting, homebrewed campaign, homebrewed anything, whatever, if you just want kind of a shout out on what you're currently working on and is ready to release, please let us know. It does need to be fully completed with a release date or currently already released. Nothing that is in production at the moment with no definitive release date. So please just shoot us a message, get to us some one way, somehow, whatever.
Somewhere.
I'm going to break into song. You can find us on Twitter at Party of 2 RPG Live. You can whisper us here. You can shoot us an email at partyof2rpg@gmail.com. You can contact me personally on my Twitter, which is Hayley M_Bell. You can find me on TikTok. Like, you can find us pretty much everywhere. So there you go.
There we go.
Get a hold of me and let me know what you want us to spotlight. But that is going to be it for today's episode of TTRPG News.
On Monday, April 11th. All right. So, about to get into the main event. However, before we get into the meat and potatoes, because I like meat and I like potatoes of this discussion, you got cheesy bread.
I know, I like cheesy bread and I like the pizza, but I like the meat of the potatoes and then the steak.
Yes.
With the mushrooms and the onions.
Oh, we need to go to Texas Roadhouse. But if you would like to support the channel, please follow and also subscribe. You can actually use, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe for free.
It's true. And I'm really bad at reminding people of this. So thank heavens for Weston.
Yep. So please support the channel. Please follow and subscribe. You can also, if you want something more than a dragon, you can actually look. There are additional ones, Final Fantasy characters, Dark Souls, and Zelda characters that you can get for just 100 bits.
And coming down the pipeline very soon are going to be specialized little characters, little chibi characters that you can also choose as a little avatar that I am actually designing.
Yep, they look awesome. We'll have to share them.
They're super cute. I'm really excited to show. I finished the ranger and I'm almost done with the wizard right now.
They're cute and I'm so looking forward to them.
Anyway, so the main event. Main topic
for
this week.
If you have not heard, big news in the TTRPG space, because it's Party of Two news, is that our next campaign will probably be Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
No, not probably.
Yeah,
he had us announce it officially last week on our show.
I don't see any reason why it's not going to be.
We are running a D&D 5e homebrewed campaign for our next campaign.
Now, a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, why? Why would you go to D&D 5th edition? Well, I can be honest with you. It's because most of you who are watching play D&D.
You guys play D&D. Most of you guys don't play Pathfinder.
So I might as well play what you guys play. So we are going to be, like I said, I'm homebrewing.
Even though we do love Pathfinder. I would like to make that clear. We do love Pathfinder, and we would not ever diss on Pathfinder. We adore it.
But it's time to learn another system.
It is.
And we are going to do Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. But let's be honest here. Everyone has some house rules that they use. Mm-hmm. And I would like to just kind of skip over the figuring out that this rule sucks.
Or which feats are broken.
Yeah.
Or monsters are broken.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm sure we'll get to those ones. But I just want to know, how homebrew or house rules are just kind of things that people are doing across the board. And I found a lot of them that are YouTubers, Reddit, everywhere. They're using these rules. Mm-hmm. And so I want to kind of go through these, kind of talk about them. Do you use this in your game? What are the pluses and minuses of it? Mm-hmm. So we can decide which ones we include in our world and our game mechanics.
So before we do that, though, I feel like you need to kind of give an idea, a little bit of a rundown for those of you who don't know what our homebrew world is, because it's not just a homebrewed campaign. This is a fully homebrewed world. We started working on it before you started thinking about it, before there was ever a thought in mind of really creating an actual homebrewed world for our next campaign.
I did.
So tell us the origin story, Weston Bell.
The origins. Well, at the beginning of time, the Big Bang happened, and then
not that far
me,
back. Not that far back. We don't need to know that. It's fine.
But in all seriousness, the world that the idea for the world, as Hayley has told this story multiple times, is that one day Hayley was in a bit of a depression spiral. If you are new to the channel, we've been open about this, that Hayley deals with depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. And honestly, when someone in the family deals with depression and anxiety, everybody
deals with it.
Deals with depression and anxiety. And so one day, she made a comment saying that on any given day, she didn't know what it would be. Does she wake up and it's a good day, or a day where she can't fight the thoughts? And I said, so it's like a roll of the dice.
Well, I'm the one that said that. I said, it's like the roll of the dice. I have no idea what's coming.
And that prompted in my mind to create a world and a system where there is a game mechanic where every day certain individuals in the world have to roll a d20 and see how they are on that day. So I built a world that's based on the ideas of order and chaos. You can move each day. There are things in the world affected by chaos and order, and you as a player are affected by the chaos and order of the world. It's almost like the weather. You don't say it's a high probability of rain today. It's high probability of chaos today. Mm-hmm. And those game mechanics will affect everything in the world, the monsters, and the emotional states of the characters as you go through it. And there will be effects on your stats and everything like that. Oh,
Earthquake!
So I have homebrewed.
Hi, Joel. Welcome, dear.
Hello.
Sorry, I saw his.
I can't really see them.
I know you can't see them. If I know your actual name, I will say hi to you when your little avatar shows up on our screen.
But that's the thing is, each day.
Because RX, I don't know your name.
Not true. But each day you will have to roll that die, depending on where you're on. If you're on the chaos side, you have to roll a die. If you're on the order side, you have to do certain things. And honestly, extremes on either side of positives and penalties. Mm-hmm. So this is very much a game is designed to simulate the daily struggle of mental health disorders and the people who love them and take care of them.
And it's not just like things that are going to be depressive type on like that side. That's also going to be things like if you have like OCD, like where order, the chaos is like more depression and anxiety. Whoa, camera. Hello. There we go. So chaos is more depression and anxiety and stuff, but then order is like OCD and like autism, because a lot of autism is very like high functioning. I am Mysterio. What do you mean you are Mysterio? You mean like you're Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
Is that what's going on?
That's Jake.
Jake Gyllenhaal is hanging out on our show?
Of course he is.
Anyway, so then on that side, because high functioning autism is a lot of times very structured, and we know that because our oldest son is high functioning autistic, and so like we know that kind of stuff.
You kind of know what it's like. So there's lots of things in there. The deities are based on an alignment system of chaos and order, and then internal or external, or social and external. So you'll have someone that's chaos social, so that would be like a goddess of lust, and then you'd have one that's order external, would be something like order internal would be like law, and order external would be crafting. The god of artistry and crafting and stuff like that. So we built a pantheon.
But not of creativity.
No.
Because creativity is chaos.
Yep. So it's very interesting there. A lot of different mechanics we're working with.
Well, and we're currently building the Pantheon right now, too.
Yes.
We're working on all that. Tell them about She Who Stands Between. Because she's my favorite.
Okay. But then I have to tell the whole creation story.
No, you don't. You just have to say humans were created out of the wastes of order and chaos, and She Who Stands Between decided to be their champion. There you go.
Say she told it.
I told it better.
One thing about this world, humans were not created by any deity. They are a randomly existing thing that was born out of the order and chaos, whereas every other race was actually created by a deity to have that specific alignment. So we're starting out with the world. Actually, most worlds, this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. In fantasy, most settings there's always a society that came before that was far better and that had like more magic, and I think that's stupid. Like, why is there never a society that was the first ones?
Wait, why is it never the first society?
So this is taking place early man.
And think of like kind of the world of The Witcher. It's a little darker. There's a little more danger. It's not as civilized. The earth has not been tamed.
Well, imagine that, but without the elves having been really been a big thing before that.
Sorry, guys. Yep, the world just spun for me.
Oh, jeez. Not fun.
Sorry, when I have migraines, I also have really bad vertigo. So,
but
for me.
That's like there won't be in our first arc. There will be no wizards because man has not yet learned to harness through intellect.
Then why am I creating a wizard chibi?
Because they're cute.
Okay, that's a good reason. I want to just acknowledge, Lumia, what you said. Yeah, it's something we do want to bring a little bit more attention to because there's such a spectrum of autism, and it's something that is a normal part of life. I'm pretty sure
For a lot of families
that I would have been diagnosed with autism if I had been actually taken in and met with people. My mom was very against stigmatizing and labels, so she never took me in.
But then you didn't get help.
I didn't get help. But learning a lot of stuff through our son who's autistic, it's very been apparent to me the ways that I've had to learn how to cope with a lot of the same brain structures and same thought processes.
Well, and in this first arc, we're going to play a married couple who has kids, and we're going to play us.
We're just going to play us.
But with a lot more cool skills than necessarily we have.
Hells yeah. I mean, I've got some cool skills.
I can't do a 5th level Divine Smite. Sorry.
Okay, that is true. You cannot do that.
So, but I'm making this homebrew world, but D&D game mechanics are a newer thing. This system I'm building pretty much will work with any D20 system, but we need to make sure, okay, outside of our homebrew, what rules should we implement on our 5th edition play to make it go? So like I'll start with one that for most people is a given.
Why does my camera refuse to like focus on my face? Thank you. My face is more attractive than my microphone. Jeez.
Health potions, you can drink a health potion as a bonus action, is a house rule. That is not rules as written.
Seriously?
Yes. Rules are written. It takes an action to drink a health potion. It became extremely popular.
Okay. No, that's true.
It became extremely popular, especially with Critical Role doing it as well.
Yeah, Matt decided to allow that to happen.
But that's one of them, to where it's like, okay, does it take an action or a bonus action to drink a health potion?
Yep.
So throw in the comments, do you do the rule of bonus action, or do you make it take a full action to drink a health potion?
I turned out pretty good, so I'm okay. It's just interesting looking back. Yeah. Sorry, just responding to Lumia, saying sorry to hear you struggled with it alone for so long. Yeah. I mean, I turned out kind of cool.
I think I liked you.
I think I liked you too.
But here's another option. So one is the healing potions only take a bonus action. The another side that I heard this one actually came from Dungeon Dudes on YouTube. What they do is that health potions in D&D don't actually heal that much.
No,
and they
especially don't.
They can especially, like, if you roll low, a healing potion can do jack diddly squat.
Yeah, so Joel, Midlife Dice, says, bonus action, roll for health. If you use a full action, you gain max roll.
Okay.
And then RX is saying, or Mysterio is saying, bonus action. It's not worth it for an action. I agree with that a lot. But I do know I've watched some actual plays where the DMs will like legit be like, no, to pull it out is an action and to drink it is an action. So like you can pull it out one round and then the next round you can drink it.
You sure that wasn't a Pathfinder? Because on Pathfinder I could see that since you get 3 actions.
I've seen DMs do that on actual plays.
Actually, and that's another one that I'll get into is actually drawing weapons and all that are supposed to take actions.
Yeah. Thank you.
But there is another option, and I love what Joel said with that, because their one was that you do max. Mm-hmm. That healing potions give max healing.
Just always.
Always. But they do it as a full action. Mm-hmm. Because then it's worth it for you to take that action to drink your healing potion. You know it's going to be worth it. Yeah. Because in the mechanics of D&D, especially if you don't know what you're going to get on that healing, it honestly makes sense just to keep hitting, especially if you happen to have someone in the party who might have a healing spell. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense to drink your potion. Yeah. But if you do the max healing and taking an action, what they also recommended was make sure you limit the amount of healing potions available.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
You don't want them max healing. Okay, I'm drinking one every round so I can get back up completely to max health because this heals more than the damage they can do. So I'll just keep sitting there drinking health potions. Don't want that either. You don't want...
You have three health potions in a combat and you are now poisoned one.
Yeah.
What's up? Who just created a homebrew? Me? Me, I did. Yeah, that was me.
This isn't Skyrim where you eat 20 blocks of circles of cheese in order to regain your health.
And while you have no constipation.
And you do it all while the dragon is blowing fire at you.
You're like, dude, just a second. I'm eating some cheese. Sacred time.
So I love what Joel said there, and he combines the two. If you take the full action, you get max. If you don't, you can use this bonus action, which then allows you to be a little strategic with how you use your action economy.
You've been stratagem.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's one that I definitely think
roll
is interesting.
Roll a constipation saving throw. Hey, we're going to do that now. When I'm GMing, we're totally going to do that now. Old school, yeah. RX, yeah. You hit it on the nose. Old school DMs do that a lot. They're very into like raw, like rules as written. Like you cannot deviate from that. And I think it was probably an older school DM that I was watching.
Well, it's interesting because in Pathfinder, my cleric, I'm 9th level. I can heal 65 points of health in a single round, and I have an action left to move.
Yeah, well, and you can do
My 2-action heal.
You can do your that's what I was thinking. Your 2 or 3 action heal, and it like basically brings everybody back up.
Yeah. So whereas in D&D it's like a lot less, especially for healing potions. So I like both of these options. And I kind of like mixing them because then it does allow you to choose. Okay, I just need a little bit of healing, but I bought this healing potion for this much money. Do I want to, use this bonus action and risk it, or take my full action and get the full thing? Someone asked, well, how would you kind of write that in? And I kind of say it as I'm like, well, it takes time for it to take effect. And so if you just run in real quick, you get stabbed and maybe didn't have full effect. Whereas if you take the full action, it can fully affect you before you run back into combat. That's the way you could flavor it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
There. Next one is actually ignoring drawing and switching hands on weapons. It's supposed to be an action.
People do that?
It's supposed to be an action to draw your weapon.
Yeah, no. There are people that ignore that?
Yes. I've played D&D games where they're like, oh yeah, you can draw your weapon. It doesn't cost your action. But it costs an action, rules as written.
I feel it. Because every time we've played, you always have made it be an action for me to pull.
But you also get 3 actions in Pathfinder.
That's true.
Whereas in D&D, if it takes your action, you don't get to do anything. No. I draw my sword. Okay, next person.
I draw my sword and run.
Yeah, unless you have a bonus action that can allow you to attack or something like that.
Which I just gotta say, like, I really do prefer the 3 action economy, and I feel like we should homebrew that into our new campaign. Because that is like that's like the number one thing that people love about Pathfinder 2nd edition is the 3 action economy. Why can't we take that and just say we're going to do the 2 action economy?
There's quite a few reasons why game mechanics wise.
I don't care whether or not the game is set up for it. I just want it.
Problem is you add things in the game isn't set up for, people die.
I know. Okay, fine.
So, but ignoring drawing and switching hands on weapons is when people are like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with, okay, say you're a you use 2 weapons. You're a 2-hand fighter. Okay, I spend 1 action on 1 turn drawing 1 weapon. Now my next turn, I use my other hand and draw the other weapon.
Like 3, oh geez.
Hopefully
3 rounds later, you're actually being able to.
Hopefully I have a bonus action to do something with this.
That's where being a barbarian is really nice. Dual wielding feat allow you to draw 2. Ooh.
Okay, but it's still a full action.
It is still a full action to do it. So you still can't do anything with it on your turn.
So a lot of people do it to where they just ignore that and it's like, hey, you draw your weapons, now do your action. In order to get to the combat and the hitting things, which is what people love, is they love the hitting things.
Yeah. Smash it with a hammer!
Here's one that I really liked, and I think I want to start using this even now in Pathfinder. It's what are called minions. It's the minion rules.
Okay.
From what I understand, this is came in 4th edition. It's one of the few good things in 4th edition. And what it is that you can, with your big bad, you then add a bunch of minions. The minions only have 1 hit point. If you attack...
They're just cannon fodder?
If you're attacking them with something that uses a reflex save, if they succeed, then it's 0 damage. But they literally are cannon fodder. And you can do up to 4 minions per player. And it's meant to give you that feeling of cutting your way through the swarm of bandits to get to the bandit leader in order to fight. And they still do damage. They still have their same, attack that they would generally do. But you don't have to track their hit points.
That's really nice.
You don't have to track and see, okay, this bandit's lost 10 hit points. This bandit's lost 15 hit points. This bandit's lost, because tracking all that is
so annoying.
But
I hate tracking that.
But pretty much by the minion rule, if you hit, they die. And you think about it, think about the movies. Like, think about your movies. Aragorn's fighting the Uruk-hai at the end of Fellowship of the Rings.
He's taking them out left and right.
It's 1 hit to kill each one.
Well, okay,
until he gets to the last one.
I would like to say, it is 1 hit to take down each one.
True.
Not necessarily kill them. That's one thing that I've noticed about, like, fantasy things is a lot of times, especially really well done fantasy, it'll be one hit for somebody to go down, but they're not necessarily dead.
True. Well, they're at 0 in D&D. They're at 0 hit points.
But they're not unconscious. They're just moving around. They just can't get up because you just cut their Achilles tendon. Good job.
Yeah. Which brings me.
You're not moving.
But the nice thing is, again, you don't have to track. You don't have to track because you know it's okay. You hit them, that one's gone. Okay, you hit them, that one's gone. So you literally do cannon fodder, which then gives the opportunity for, let's say you've got the big bad bandit lord. He's got his compound bow. He's able to start plugging you the way that Boromir was getting plugged before he runs up to then fight you, amping up the combat without making it harder for
more
you to
complicated
track.
As a GM. No, yes. I like that a lot. What did I just have that? Oh, wait, did Kyle do that on our show, the show that we did with him?
I know that most of the time any of the
troglodytes.
Troglodytes.
I don't remember the name.
Generally, any of the trollocs that we hit died in one hit.
Yeah.
Most time, because then it makes it easier for you to track if you're doing a huge amount of little bad guys with one big bad guy.
Truth.
And then the other one I heard is if you're not going to do minions, then you give legendary actions where they get to do cool things, cool lair effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is fun. Lair effects are really interesting because I've been reading through the monster manual for D&D 5e, and I've found it interesting that there are lair effects designed. I thought most lair effects were just like a random, like you just chose, like, hey, I'm going to do this lair effect with this character. No, it's like with specific monsters. I didn't realize that, like the Beholder. I was reading through that last night, I think, and I didn't realize there was like 5 lair effects that you could choose to incorporate with your encounter with the Beholder. I was like, oh my gosh.
I love lair effects. I actually think they're one thing that Pathfinder could use.
They don't do lair effects, and hazards are not as big a thing, I feel.
They have hazards, but lair effects, legendary actions don't exist. Like, okay, for my legendary action, I just choose to succeed at that.
That is like so dickish, though. That's like, this is GM being just like, hey, guess what? What you just did means nothing.
Well, think about it. You're fighting a dragon. All of a sudden, I'm going to use this mind control. Yeah, no, you don't.
Speaking of dragons, I have to tell you guys about this really cute thing that I saw. So there is this meme / thread going around on the socials on Facebook and Twitter, that I've seen that is equating adventure parties going to attack a dragon to us scooping up human beings, scooping up like a spider and putting it outside because it takes care of other pests and like mosquitoes and flies and stuff. And it is the funniest thing, whereas the visual is that you as an adventure party coming in and you're like, die, spawn worm of the devil. And the dragon is like,
that's what she says in our campaign cute. When we go to fight.
That's what I say. But they're like, oh, look how cute. It's so little. Oh, it's like all stabby. And then the wife dragon is like, oh, just squish it. And the dad dragon is like, no, I'm gonna go take him outside. And so he scoops him up and goes and puts him outside. Like, it's really cute. Anyway, sorry.
Can I get the phone charger? Sorry,
no, you can't have phone charger.
But speaking of dragons and things that can do a lot of damage, there's another one that I found that is very interesting. It's called Massive Damage Rule.
Oh, do you want me to plug it in over here?
I can plug it in over here.
Okay.
It's called the Massive Damage Rule. And it's if a monster does an attack that that takes you down to half your hit points in one hit. So it's one hit is equal to half your hit points. Yeah. Then you have to roll on a table and you have lasting effects. Or you can just have injury shock and go straight to 0 hit points. So it could be like they broke your leg, you now are at half speed. They broke your arm, you're now enfeebled 1. If they do that much damage to you in one hit. Hi
Julian, you ready? I'm sorry, I'll never not. Julian, if you hate that, please tell me, because I love it. But if you hate it, I will not do it.
Just let her know. And it works on the monsters too.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, so
if that would affect the monsters as
if
well.
you do half damage, half of their HP and damage on one hit, they have to roll on the same table.
Okay, cool.
Let me see.
You also interact with one object or feature of the environment for free during either your move or your action. For example, you can open a door during your move as you stride toward a foe, or you can draw your weapon as part of a same action you use to attack.
That's interesting. So they give you something you can interact, which I kind of like because interacting with the environment is one thing that makes combats cooler. Anyone who's watched a Jackie Chan movie knows.
I love how he just like takes random things from the area and smacks me with them.
Yeah. I mean, it just gets cool when you interact with the environment. And so that's one thing that...
I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to eat my pizza.
Eat your pizza. That's one thing I think I like to have happen. That's like talking. To speak is a free action, but really should your bard be going on a 2-minute monologue as a free action?
Do you know what's also a free action?
What?
Crying.
Yes.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
But only if they cry for only 6 seconds. If they cry for longer than 6 seconds, sorry,
it's now an action.
Exactly. Let me see. Okay, so there was massive damage. The other one was called the bleed condition. This is another one brought over from 4th edition, where when a monster or a player hits their half hit points, they get the bleed condition. This does two main things. One, the players all know now that they hit half hit points, which is kind of nice to know.
Wait, bleed takes you to half hit points?
No, it's when they hit half hit points, they get the bleed condition.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter what's happening once they hit
half hit points. Then you can say, okay, you know as you're cutting it, and it's bleeding pretty bad.
Instead of just the how does it look? Oh, it's looking kind of rough.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's actually, okay, he has the bleed condition now. Oh, I know we've got him down to half hit points, which that's kind of cool, especially if you're like, okay, we got this one guy down. We're going to focus fire to take them down the rest of the way before we go to the next one. The other reason I kind of like this bleed condition is what it can do for the GM. One, it gives you a definitive place to change your description on what's happening. So it's not just guesstimating always when you want to say they're starting to look rough or starting to bleed. The other one is that I've been doing some research, and generally when you write a fight scene, it should be in 3 parts. It's a 3-act fight. Yeah. Generally, there's the start, there's the mid, and then there's the resolution. And that gives you a perfect chance to have some abilities that you hold in reserve until they bleed condition. And then you bring out those new abilities. We see this in so many video games where you get them down to half hit points, and then suddenly they change the way they attack. They suddenly bring out some specialty attacks that they didn't have or didn't use earlier because now they're more desperate or something like that. And it allows you to create that 3-act fight that is recommended in everything for writing. Books, movies, they always recommend it. So I like the bleed condition. I think I'm going to use this, even if it doesn't change a whole ton of mechanics. As far as me creating the scene of our fight, I think it's a great thing to have at that half hit point.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea. It adds another layer to the combat that's not overly complicated, that isn't going to add more to the player or the GM's play.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It's just like, oh, we've hit half hit points. Okay. He now has the bleed condition. Now everyone starts getting all like, ooh, excited because, we know he's at half hit points.
Weston just dropped a bunch of stars.
I did.
If you do not know what you can do with the stars, if you jump and catch or hit a star, you gain points. When you hit 10 points or 2 stars gained, you can drop bombs on people, which Weston apparently is going to drop bombs right now. You're just... Yep. And you can also attack people if you feel so inclined to attack. Which Julian Yuri always attacks us.
Okay, next one is when you hit 0 hit points, when you come back to, standing up or, being more than 0 hit points, you take a point of exhaustion. And the reason for this mechanic, Pathfinder has something like this, to where you have the wounded condition when you come back. The reason for this is to keep it from, I'm down to 0 hit points. Cleric heals me. I stand back up. I hit.
I'm perfect.
Then I go, look, they took me down again. Okay, cleric heals me. I hit again. And it's just like this. There's no cost for being taken down to 0.
Yeah.
And this adds an additional cost. You're now exhausted 1. Which means you take
a
a -1 on all of your, or you have disadvantage or something. I don't remember exactly what the condition does.
You do realize by dropping the bombs, you got rid of all of the stars, right?
A bunch of people won the stars.
Am I just not paying attention?
No, you're not.
Frick. You guys, I'm sorry. Kevbot 110 from the jump catch game. Weston, you won 5. How did you win 5? Did you jump?
I think I got bounced by the bomb, and then it caught it.
I'm like, you're sitting here talking to me. How did you win it? Fun.
I'm multitasking.
Yeah. If we get a couple more people in tonight on the show, I think we should do a boss battle. It's not, we are learning that it's not fair to do a boss battle if you have done less than like 10 people in the game.
I could do a basketball game.
We could do a basketball game. Dis on skill checks at level 1 exhaustion.
Disadvantage.
Oh, disadvantage.
So disadvantage on skill checks at level 1 exhaustion.
Oh,
and at level 6 exhaustion, you die.
So don't go to 0 more than 5 times.
Yeah, don't more than 5 times in combat.
Essentially. Which that would suck. That would be a freaking long combat too if you had the ability to go to 0 5 times.
Possibly, or you just kept getting downed, like they kept critting or something like that. I could see it happening.
But
it'd be rare.
That'd be super weird. Anyway.
Which brings me to the next one, which is hidden death saves.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know how I feel about this.
It is that the GM or DM, the DM, I guess in this case, rolls your death save behind the screen and you don't know if you've succeeded or not. And so for all you know, you're failing every death save.
And you're dying. And you are dying.
So I like this one. And the main reason I don't think though you and I would need this one. And here's my reasoning why.
We don't wait until the last death save to save somebody.
We're heavy role players.
Yeah. The second.
This protects.
What the hell is going on in here? Hi, Kyle. You're the only person who changes your stuff. Hi, sweetie.
Oh, he is. Yeah, because he bought. I think that's a Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Hugs. What? No, bad. Bad TM.
But the reason for the hidden death saves is that if you've got players who are metagaming it, like, okay, he's succeeded at 2 of his death saves, I don't need to go heal him.
That's just being a dick.
Well, but no, you don't need to. I can go keep attacking because you've got plenty of death saves.
Hi, Kyle! You're screaming at us in the chat.
But that is one that I do like. If you got players that are doing that, I'd be 100% in favor of hidden death saves. I'm like, you don't know. He might be about to die. Maybe you should go heal him.
Maybe you should. But we don't do that, and we just play the 2 of us. Sorry, you guys. I keep doing this because my camera keeps
honestly, Hayley, you've never had to do a death save.
You have only gotten to unconscious. Have you had to do it? You have. You did it once.
The cat fight.
Yes, my character was freaking out. What are hidden death saves? It's where the DM rolls the death save and not the player, so that the player doesn't know whether or not they are coming back.
They don't know if they succeeded at because you've got quite a few death saves before you completely die.
3? 3. You have 3.
I think so, yeah. So you don't know how far you are, and neither do the rest of your party. So it then prompts the party to
drop some more stars.
To go and actually heal you because they don't know. Oh, there's a bomb.
That's not a star, Wes. What in the?
Sorry, I had bombs selected.
Jeez. Wait, what is this topic?
These are.
Hi, John. We are talking about homebrew and house rules.
House rules
for D&D 5e.
So we are going to be doing D&D 5e for our next campaign, and I want to know what house rules are recommended, do most people use. We've covered things like bonus action for drinking a healing potion, the massive damage homebrew, where if you get hit down to half, take half your hit points taken in one hit, then you have other lasting effects that happen.
RX says also downed PCs can get automatic fails from being attacked while downed, so you may not be able to wait. And that is very true. That is one thing that I think a lot of that really shocked me when I've watched some actual plays, like when I first started in this world, was the number of GMs that were totally fine killing PCs by doing that, by having them go to 0 and at a place where they have to do a death save, and then the bad guy is just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, you're dead.
Well, if you're right there in front of me, you're gonna like, it makes sense.
Or like, I've always just felt like it was overkill. There were moments in Critical Role where I felt like there was just overkill when Matt was like attacking, like, what's her face, no, not the Rakshasa, the green dragon.
I don't remember her name.
But she clawed, like, and did this massive attack, and like Scanlan or somebody was down already, and I was like, dude, he's down. What are you doing?
Which that's one also that I've seen a lot of people mention in like the Reddit threads and things like that, is making it harder to do resurrections.
Yes, they should not be that easy.
Because your person died. Oh, well, no big deal. We got this huge diamond. We can go do this spell and you're brought back to life. So then death kind of becomes a non-thing at a certain level.
It's not as scary. So Planar Allies, Kyle says, we have a house rule that you have to use your whole movement to get up from prone or get attacks of opportunity.
Okay. So if you use your whole action, not your
whole
whole
movement. Because in D&D you can split up your movement. You can move up to that number of feet, but you can split it up between, I'm going to move 15 feet, attack, and then I'm going to move 15 feet back.
Well, and I know in Critical Role it's certainly half their movement that he has them use to get up.
Yeah.
He has them do half their movement. But in this one, you can use that, or you take attack of opportunity.
No, that makes sense. Okay, John Doom says, an interesting one that came from an old player of D. I think it was before they added dragon. What? Was there ever a time before? Okay, don't joke. I'm very gullible. Anyway, healing potions can work topically rather than being ingested.
Just gonna pour it on my head. It's like an herbal essences commercial.
Okay.
They've got the urge to herbal.
Yes, thank you very much, my love. So hold on, wait. How would you
just rub it on?
Well, no, I know what topically means. I mean, but like how would that work mechanic wise? Like how does it give you back?
You gotta put it in the wound like a salve.
Do you put it like, but is that flavor, or does that change like the hit points you get
more like
back?
I wonder if it'd make it harder to apply. I don't know.
Yeah, that would sting.
Oh, another one I wanted to bring up was modified crits. And here's the modification. I kind of like this because nothing is worse than you roll that nat 20. You're the barbarian or something like that, and you're about to do massive damage, or the rogue, and you roll a natural 1. Or you roll a 1 on your damage die. So it's so doubled to 2. And what
you're like,
freaking
yay. Well, okay, I've got to say, though, about those, like, I hate rolling for your HP. Like, I've got to say, freaking hate it. I think that is the stupidest thing, that you roll for your HP. Like, really, when you level up in D&D, I hate that.
So I've heard two things on that one. Let me get the crit first, and then I'll get to that one.
Hold on. RX says, have you heard of this new game, Dungeons? You're making fun of my gullibility. Hey, I don't know. It could have happened. It could have started out as Dungeons and then they added the dragons later.
But the...
Oh, Dooms is here. Hi, Dooms. Hello, our silent viewer that we love so much.
Double dice. So I'm guessing it's like, you take the higher. Other one I've heard is that you can roll or take the safe number, which is half.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got a D10, then you take 5, or you can roll for it. I know then, like Matt Mercer does, no ones, you reroll ones.
Yeah.
Things
well,
like that.
I know a lot of GMs that do that do the reroll ones. And I don't know, is that an actual rule in D&D, or is that a house rule that everybody has just accepted?
It's a house rule.
Because I know a crap ton of people that reroll ones regardless.
Well, that's all because of Critical Role. Because a lot of other people do that. It's your average. The other one I've heard is that the GM, the DM rolls and the player rolls, and then they take the higher.
That would make sense.
So
Okay, so
lots
John,
of ways that they do this.
John says in answer to my question, yeah, to make it harder, but you can also keep a couple bottles under your armor if you get stabbed. Might get lucky and get the potion too.
And that just seeps into your wound.
How would you do that though as a GM? Is like a percentage? Like if you get...
Okay, the book does say reroll ones. Apparently that is the book.
Okay, so that's the book. That's not...
So then they up it to...
Oh, you don't allow it? Nice, Julian. You're like, it's an official rule from D&D, but I don't allow it.
And see, this is
sucks.
exactly what RX says is exactly what I was talking about with this crit, modified crit. You take max damage on the die, and then you roll one other. So if you were, let's say you had your weapon damage was 1d8. You do 8 and then roll a die and then add that to the 8. So no matter what, you at least did max damage on that crit.
That makes sense.
It also means you'll get critted high, always with that amount. So it's a give and take there. But then your crit, even if you roll a 1 on that next one, you at least had a good hit.
Yeah.
And you don't have that complete letdown.
Where you're just like, yay, that was a useless critical. That's awesome.
And that's exactly why.
Yeah.
The other one...
Or like rolling a d20 on a initiative roll.
The other one that you do is crit effects. Where... Okay, you crit, but then there's also this effect, which Pathfinder's got their crit cards and things like that.
Yeah.
To where even if you don't do, okay, I rolled a 1, so I didn't do much damage, but the effect is they have, their speed is lessened by 10.
I would just like to say, though, with crit effects like that, I have played in some games where the crit effect actually is negative to the player, and the nat 1 critical failure can be positive to the player.
I've never heard of one like that.
I have played them. I played one once like
sucks.
that. And I did not like it because every time you got a crit or a nat 1, it was like, hopefully this is a good thing.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It was weird. John does say we played as you get the max plus con mod.
For
crits?
For health?
For health or for crits?
Because generally you roll your hit die and then you add your con modifier. So if they do max plus con, then it's kind of like Pathfinder where you just get that straight number plus your con every single level, which is what you get in Pathfinder.
And RX says there are also glancing blows where you just meet the AC. You do half damage. That's an interesting one.
I have heard that one.
So it's not just meat beats. It's
meats takes half because
you guys are equal, essentially.
Yeah, health at leveling. It's your hit die plus your con. So if you have
that so much
you do
better.
10 plus your con, which is what Pathfinder does.
Yeah, that's like I love the way that Pathfinder does that because it's stupid to be like, hey, I'm a level 17 wizard or sorcerer and I still have not hit triple digits yet.
There's a surprising
There's
a surprising number of these that I'm like, Pathfinder does that. Pathfinder does that.
You're like, so essentially what you're saying.
Here's one I don't know that
Pathfinder.
In the list I found, it said that this was a house rule that players can choose to hold their turn and lower themselves in the initiative order.
I thought it's just.
I thought you just like,
hold your action until it's triggered by something else.
Well, that's holding an action, but that's not holding your whole turn. You can't hold your move. That's just an action. You can't move after that. You can't do anything. In Pathfinder, you can delay, and then you move in the initiative order to where you wanted to go. I'm not going to go until after they go, and you could do that. But yeah, it says that's in the book. Fixed HP is a thing. Okay. Okay.
You take an advantage roll of the high die instead. Interesting. John says, yeah, even on reroll 1, someone can get a 2 a bunch. It's garbage. I agree.
All right.
Garbage.
So this is one like maybe in our game we'll go with this, with just take the max plus the hit die. Which nice thing is for that, since this is my first time running D&D, it'll be a lot more forgiving for me on picking monsters because I'll know we're a little less squishy, especially since we're a party of two.
Yeah, so we're a party. So for those that have joined us a little bit late, the reason this topic even came up was because we were discussing how, we're creating this homebrewed world for our second campaign, which is going to be in the latter half of 2022 that we started. And it is a fully homebrewed world, but we don't want to run into things like pitfalls that GMs who've been doing D&D 5e, because we're doing the game in D&D 5e, that like we don't want to have to find those pitfalls if other GMs have already found them.
Yep.
So that's why we're talking about this tonight.
So another one here. So let's see. We got let's see. Yeah. So players being able to lower their initiative. I'm gonna wait until after they go. Apparently, rules as written, you can't do that.
I think it's weird. Like I just feel like that's a strange thing to do.
I haven't looked at. We haven't had a chance to dive into Savage Worlds. I've had
I'm friends with Megan Caves that plays Savage Worlds. She GMs a lot of Savage Worlds, and we've talked about it. And I feel like it actually would be a really good fit for us as people with the game itself, but it's not set up for 2-player as well as like a Gestalt with D&D or dual classing in Pathfinder.
Okay, but yeah, someone throw in the comments.
Cypher has a really cool HP system.
Throw it in the comments if I'm wrong, but I saw this on the list that you can't choose to go after this other person and lower yourself in the initiative order. Where you're at in the initiative order is where you're at in the initiative order. You can't really do anything about it.
If that's a rules as written kind of thing.
Let me know if that's rules as written, because I found it on the list and on the Reddit threads that I was, and the things that I was looking at as an actual, that would be a house rule to allow you to do that.
Yeah. Drop more stars.
Okay, apparently she wants me to drop more stars.
Well, I just keep seeing Lumia asking, like putting in the stars thing, and I'm like, she wants stars. We have to actually put the stars down. They don't just show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's one that I saw all
There's
over
literally
the place.
a rule set for running duets. What, in Savage Worlds?
In Savage Worlds.
What? Sorry, that was really loud. I apologize. I apologize. That was really loud.
Even in my ears, I was like,
is there really? There's really there is? I really did not know that. Maybe Megan doesn't know that either.
Ooh, maybe you know some.
Maybe I just learned she's like the Savage World queen.
Yeah, your initiative is fixed. Rules is written.
Oh.
So I think that's one that will include that. Like, if you want to, you can delay your turn. You can't move up in initiative order, but you can delay.
No, it's okay, Lumia. I see you wanting the stars to drop, and I'm like, drop the stars. I don't have the computers on my side. All of the tech is on that side of the table.
So here's another one that I. Free bonus feat at first level came up again and again again. No, you don't get a feat at first level in D&D.
What?
Unless you take certain ancestries, a variant human or something like that, you don't get a feat at first level. D&D doesn't have
D&D 5e?
D&D doesn't have feats. It doesn't have a feat fetish the way that Pathfinder does.
Okay, hold on, John. I'm gonna go look.
I
feel like I just became an ASMR girl. I'm gonna go look at it.
Don't start licking the mic.
No! Oh my gosh, it's so gross. It's so gross. You guys don't ever delve into the ASMR world of live streaming. It is so gross.
But apparently a lot of GMs like letting you pick a feat at first level in order to get you into your class faster. So that way you actually have some class feats. You can actually do class stuff at first level instead of having to wait until third or fourth level, from what I understand. Okay, Planar Alex, I do a free feat at first level, but you can only take something that, 1, doesn't improve a stat, and 2, can't be used in combat. It has to be a flavor feat. Okay. A lot of ones I heard they do full. Pretty much any feat, but that one's also kind of fun because here's one thing. You get a lot of people in TTRPGs that are just combat focused. And so if you get them and make them take a feat at first level that's more role play focused or flavor focused, then it's going to promote that role play, which can be a really good thing. For us, role play I don't think is a problem.
No, it is a problem because we get kind of lost in the role play sometimes.
See,
and
you can get
forget
a feat at first level as a Strixhaven background, but you have to take the Strixhaven
But you have
background.
to have the Strixhaven background, though. So, like, if you don't want the Strixhaven background, but you have to take it.
That sucks.
And that's not a. Okay, so thank you for sending this to me, John.
Did you look at that?
No, I'm looking at it right now. I think I might want it.
Next one. Help action. In order to do the help action, requires that the other person be proficient in it.
What?
Let's say I'm proficient in athletics.
Okay.
You're not proficient in athletics.
That's rude.
How are you supposed to help me lift something?
2 is always better than 1.
And if it's a intelligence check?
I am an intelligent individual. It would be fine.
It's an arcana check. I'm going to help them. I'm not proficient in it, but I'm going to help them. That doesn't really make sense.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right. I think it's some things though, like if you're helping somebody, what's a help action? You don't aid. I'm going to aid this individual.
Yep.
That's the help action. John,
I'm lifting something. I'm lifting a boulder. Okay, well, I'm going to help them, and then it gives a lot of times advantage on the roll.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice boulder.
Yeah, you can help them, and they'll get advantage.
Wow, the movie quotes are. You guys, my ADHD is pretty intense today. Because when my brain hurts, it just kind of goes on free flow. A little bit like it's drugged.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's one, is that they have to be proficient in the skill in order to help you. If our power goes out, we're sorry. We just had lights.
Our lights just flickered. We have a snowstorm right now. There's a huge storm system. If you guys are in the middle of the country, be safe, please, because there's a pretty massive system of storms coming in that are going to hit the middle of the country like tomorrow. And there's some intense tornado warnings and severe storm warnings for the middle of the country, like tomorrow and Wednesday. So please be safe. Anyway, sorry. That was
another one. It has to do with inspiration. So inspiration is kind of the equivalent of hero points in Pathfinder.
Well, no, it's not. You get a D4.
That's if it's the bardic inspiration. If I as a DM are giving you inspiration, I can do that. And it pretty much, from what I understand, gives you advantage on a roll. But
yeah, which is not, but it's not like hero point though. Because in a hero point, you re-roll it and you have to take the second roll. With advantage, you take whichever is the higher of the two.
That's true. But I can give, I mean, as far as like something that the GM gives.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading the comments.
Okay.
No, I'm reading. I'm on, as my witness, I am on our Twitch app and I'm reading the comments because people are chatting.
But you can only have one inspiration at a time. So if you got someone who's doing a lot of really cool things in role playing, you give them inspiration. A lot of players don't use it because they want to have it for the big boss battle or for when they really need it. So the ability to give multiple points of inspiration is something a lot of house rules allow for more than one. For you to have more than one inspiration.
I like that. You can be inspired more than one time. I think that makes sense.
The other two alternatives I've heard, one was one used what he calls luck points. Mm-hmm. So he awards you luck points and they can build up. Mm-hmm. And then what you can do is you can use so many luck points, which this is actually a cyberpunk mechanic. Oh. You can use so many of your luck points and add them to your roll.
Oh.
So if I rolled a 10 and I have 10 luck points, I can make it a 20. It's not a crit. It's not like a nat 20.
It's like a dirty 20.
But I can make it into a dirty 20 and then add my modifier to
dirty
it.
20.
So that's one way he uses that, because then he can award as much as he wants. Mm-hmm. And then the other one were what were called ability cards, which are that you give, they're kind of like crit cards, but you give them to someone that gives them something cool that they can do. and they can cash that in whenever they want to.
Oh.
So like you did something cool, draw a card. Okay, your next attack is a Deadeye, and you do double damage, and they're blinded for 1 round.
Oh, that's cool.
And then suddenly you just cash that in when you go for an attack, and all of a sudden it does so much more.
I like it.
That was another avenue for that player rewards.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. What do you think about using the word that is in my head? Loot cards.
Define.
It has all of the loot or the items, equipment, stuff like that you would normally find in like a loot the body or find the stuff in the dungeon and whatever. And you as the GM would choose, okay, these are the cards I'm going to have in this pile, but then you have the players actually pick a card. So it's kind of randomized.
Oh, as far as what loot they find?
As to what loot they find or loot they get.
I can see 2 sides on that. In one side, it's kind of cool because it does kind of randomize. And then it's like playing Diablo, where you don't know what loot the monster's going to drop. You can suddenly kill a skeleton, and the skeleton drops... Oh, look, he's got a crown of, like, mind control.
I always thought those were so weird. I was like, why would a freaking skeleton have 30 gold?
I know.
Like, what? Okay, so hold on. Julian says, the book says inspiration is the DM's discretion of players being cool or fun, things roleplay wise. Yes. And then he said, by the time I finished typing my point, you guys were 5 points ahead.
No, that's what inspiration is. So the question, but you can only have 1 rules is written.
At a time, yeah. At a time, you can't have more than 1.
And so a lot of people house rule and give you more. I might stick with the Pathfinder setup and say you can have up to 3. Which is what you do for hero points.
Yeah, you can have up to 3 per session. I have friends of ours, Dave from Tomes of the Chaos Bard. He uses loot cards.
Oh, does he?
Because he doesn't like going through and having to pick all of this, and he's just like, dude, just here's the pack, pick a card.
The only downside I could see to that is lore specific loot.
If you have lore specific loot, then you as the GM would at the discretion. But if it's just like a random like guard that you killed because you're a dick, you just draw a card.
No, I can see that. I actually kind of like that because, again, it makes it easy. Less planning that the GM has to do.
Yeah.
But if they're all common or mundane items, then heck, that works out just fine.
Yeah,
maybe you throw in one that's rare every once in a great while. That, oh, look, you happen to have a family heirloom.
Like, oh, that's so wonderful. Lumia, I think you have to do hugs and then who you're wanting to hug.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that?
I think so.
There's instructions in our about section on if you're on the website, watching us from a browser, there's like directions and stuff like that in the about section as well for what the avatars can do.
So yeah, those cards, and then that's where the ability cards kind of come in, where you can like, I'm going to cash in this, and suddenly my role becomes something different.
Way better.
So I think all those different ways to reward your players for cool stuff are really good.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of promote the activities you want. Granted, at our table, we never really reward any of that stuff.
Nope. We don't believe in rewarding people for things. I think the first time I've ever rewarded anyone for anything was like a session ago. Yeah. 2 sessions ago. And that was our guest.
Because he was being really funny.
Because he was being really funny.
Yeah,
you kill a skeleton, you get a cursed bone, rusty sword, and decayed armor.
That's
seriously, that's realistic.
No, I always loved it in Diablo where it's like, oh, you killed this skeleton. The skeleton was walking around with the sword. You got a crossbow. What?
Why?
Okay.
You're like, that doesn't make any sense. Hey, nothing bad about, Diablo, though. We love Diablo.
Oh, yeah, I played them all. Another one here. Here's one along with that inspiration, that the group can pick someone at the end of each game to give inspiration to for the next game. So the party kind of votes who was the top person tonight, who's the MVP of the night, and then they get an inspiration to start the next game with.
That's cool.
I kind of like that because then it's not just the DM always dishing out. It's also the players being happy with
they
each
get
other.
a say in who they feel like did a really good job that session. Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting one to do.
My mane of hair that just gets everywhere. Hey, Starry Night.
Hey.
It's been a hot second. Hi, sweetie.
We're talking house rules that a lot of people use because we're trying to decide which ones to include in our upcoming
new campaign.
New campaign.
Did I miss TTRPG news? Yes, you did. It's at the very beginning of our show.
But you can find it on our YouTube channel. We'll be posting
it. Wednesday morning. It goes live on our YouTube as a VOD on Wednesday mornings.
So,
but yeah, what you were saying.
So, next one. Flanking is an alternate rule. Flanking is not actually part of the normal rules. It's a variant rule from the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Wait. What?
Yep.
But literally everyone does flanking.
I know.
Literally everybody.
So, it's technically, though, using a variant rule. That is in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but it is a variant rule. It's not part of the core game mechanics.
You guys are a little weird.
Now, I heard, so generally, flanking gives you advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to one of the
I don't use flanking because I forgot.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
We use it. It's a very important thing in Pathfinder to be able to flank because then the bad guy's flat-footed and all that. Like in terms of being strategic in your play in combat, it's a really important thing. I'm shocked that it wasn't just a normal thing.
No, it was in the Dungeon Master's Guide as an additional rule you can use.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was watching one of the YouTube videos I watched in starting this. Dungeon Dudes did a pretty good one on different house rules.
I like them.
And they don't do advantage. They do it as a +2 on your attack, similar to what the opposite of what you get with cover, which, Pathfinder.
It's interesting that so many of these house rules are things that are in Pathfinder 2nd Edition and they are built into the game.
Yep, it is.
It's very fascinating.
But here's an idea that I loved. Throw it in the comments here. Multi-classing is required with my imagination. Yeah,
are we doing Gestalt?
I'll have to figure it out because it's hard to track.
I know.
Pathfinder had a bunch of character sheets and it built into their systems.
Yeah.
In order to multi-class. There's no one out there that I can find a Gestalt character sheet. So it's going to be a little
If you know of one,
fun.
let us know.
It's going to be a little difficult.
That would be really helpful.
But I liked one idea that these guys put out as a possible is to use the same the flip of mechanics for cover. In cover, if you have half cover, you get a +2. Mm-hmm. If you have greater, if you have like 3/4 cover or something like that, it's a +5 to your AC. Mm-hmm. So they do the flip. If you're flanked, then they get a +2 on attack, or you get a -2 to AC.
Nice.
If you're triple flanked or you're surrounded, it's a -5, which could then get it to where your players want to completely surround the bad guy in order to beat on him. Mm-hmm. But then that requires you as the player. You could also get surrounded by little guys, and then you're at a -5. So then you got to use your move action, even if it takes attack of opportunity. You got to use your move action to get out of there and get your back against the wall because you don't want to be surrounded. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that rule of a +2.
Hi, Joy. Hold on.
She's chewing some of her dinner at the moment.
Hi, John. I'm eating pizza. Well, it's not actual. Well, it's pizza. It's cheese pizza, but it's the cheese bread from from Little Caesar.
That's a bit murdery. Surrounding a dude and just stabbing. Yeah.
That is a little murdery. Stabby stab.
That's right. And you can disengage.
Only if you're a rogue, though. You can't disengage unless you either have the feat or you're a rogue.
Yeah, you have to have the feat or be a rogue. But that's another reason why you might want to take the feat.
Or be a rogue.
Yep. Because then you can disengage. But because this goes both ways. You can surround the dragon and each of you is on a different side of it and suddenly the dragon's AC drops. But then also if you've got a group of kobolds surrounding you.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, you guys. This is a momentous moment. This is a momentous moment in this stream's history because Dooms just commented something. Dooms does not talk very often.
Dooms, she's been waiting.
I have been waiting. I mean, I know you've commented before in the past, but like, it's rare. I feel very honored that you said something. Thank you. Okay, hold on. Now I gotta read it. Disengage is available to everyone. No, it's not.
Oh, rogues get it as a bonus. Let's see. I like flank in Pathfinder, but strongly dislike in 5e with no attacks of opportunity from running around a foe, and also no cost for using movement when in melee. It's basically just a near guarantee all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No,
so
but doesn't everybody have an attack of opportunity in D&D?
Yes, but you have to move through their square in order to get it. Whereas in Pathfinder, you just have to do a manipulate action, like standing up or pulling your weapon out or pulling out a potion. All of that gets you an attack of opportunity against you in Pathfinder. So I got to read up on attack of opportunity in 5e.
Okay, so rogues get it as a bonus,
but
you can do disengage as a full action. Oh, okay.
So again, I like this idea with the flanking where it's a -2 on their AC if flanked by 2 people. If surrounded, it's a -5 because then you don't want to get surrounded, which then prompts you to move around in combat more and not just stand and slash.
Yeah,
which let's be honest, is boring.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Starry Night, it is totally fine to actually me. By the way, dear, shoot me another email with the name of your YouTube channel because I didn't have that to do the community announcements with tonight. So shoot me another email.
Yes.
And it's totally for everybody that's in the chat, it's totally fine to actually me. I'm so okay with being actually.
Well, and 5th edition is new to us. We've played some as players, but I've never GM'd or DM'd a 5e game. There's a lot of mechanics that are going to be different that I don't know yet. I'm still reading my books.
Yeah. And we just got the books. If you guys are following me on Twitter, you saw that I posted about it, and I got some very funny answers about why I might have D&D 5e books. It was hilarious. Go read through them. They're funny. Some of them are very disrespectful to D&D.
Oh, John Doom. The 5 Ds of D&D. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Dragons!
And there's the last one, dragons. All right.
But this was after it was just dungeons.
So, just going to cover some of the ones that we've gone through so far.
Oh, shoot. It's 9:26. Frick.
So, we had the minions mechanic from 4th edition, where you can add a whole ton of minions. They only have 1 hit point, but they do full damage. So they can hurt you, but you can take them out real fast. You can have up to 4 minions per player character.
That's interesting. Yep. I like that. You can be like Gru.
Yep.
Come on, camera. My face.
Oh, and one thing with inspiration.
There we go.
Inspiration requires you to declare before you roll that you're using your inspiration.
Oh, so you can't have a sucky roll, and then use inspiration.
And that's one thing that gets house ruled a lot, is that you can use your inspiration after the roll.
But, okay, here's an argument against that house roll.
Yep.
As a writer, you have... Stop, put your hand up. Ow!
Keep banging the table and making
banging the table and hurting everything. Sorry. As a writer, when you're writing the character when they're down on their like last luck, I didn't realize how dark your screen was, dude. Wes, your screen is super dark. You look like you're being pulled into the shadows of Mordor.
The shadow knows.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, but it's like you as the person or as the main character, you're going in for for that last hit or whatever, and it's when you're going into that hit that you kind of gain that extra oomph to move forward, which would imply that the inspiration comes at the tail end of the action, not at the beginning of said action.
Okay, so are you...
Does that make sense?
So are you saying you want the house rule then? Because the house rule would be that you can do it after the roll.
No, you said the opposite.
No, the rules as written are that you have to say it before you roll.
Oh, I thought you were saying that was the house rule.
Nope.
Okay, then never mind. Forget everything that I just completely fumbled my way through.
Yep. And John Doom, he agrees. They house rule that often that you can do it after the roll.
Yeah. My bard would like to do better.
And Starry Night's like, I'm in the shadows of TPing house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, our conversation last week. If you joined us last week, we talked about TPing houses.
Okay, going down the list. The ability for the group to award inspiration at the end of the night.
I agree,
because they think a player did great. Mm-hmm. The ability to delay your action and move in the initiative order down. So you can wait to attack. You don't have to take your initiative order at that moment. You can always move down. I do like... So technically critically missing and having things happen isn't rules as written. I found that in a lot of the threads.
Like having a negative something happen to you if you critically miss?
Apparently that's not actually rules as written.
Then what's the point of critically missing? Then isn't it just like you missed?
Yeah, which in Pathfinder you don't actually have anything for critically missing certain things.
I know, and I think that's stupid.
Yep. So apparently that is Starry Night. I really like the delay your action. I
also have people hit themselves if they critically miss. Yep. Oh snap! Holding an action is raw.
But that's holding.
That's holding an action. That's not holding your entire turn.
Yeah. Including your move and everything like that.
So it's essentially saying, hey, I want to hold my turn completely until after, like, this
So-and-so
person.
goes. Yeah. I'm going to wait until, the monster moves up. Then I'm going to run up and then I'll hit him or something like that.
But then that changes your initiative order. So then that begs the question, what's the point of initiative order to begin with anyway, if you're going to do that?
Because it puts you in your order. You can only move down. You can't move up. So if you're low, you don't have the option to move up. It's only
if you're the
up,
last person in initiative order, you're just screwed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It always
Awesome.
happens.
I like it.
I once had someone shoot themselves with a sniper rifle in the foot because hold action is wrong.
No fumble tables. Fumble tables.
Fumble tables. If you roll on that
one,
then you have to roll on a fumble table.
Oh.
To where that's when you have different effects that happen, shoot yourself in the foot, things like that. So the one end,
I kind of like that.
The one side is the DM just decides. The other one is on a table and can get pretty bad.
I kind of like that idea though, because then it also changes it so that if you make something bad happen, it's not because the DM is being a jerk.
Yes.
Hiding
death saves was another one we covered.
Yes.
To where the GM rolls them behind the screen and you don't know if you failed to or if you succeeded. Mm-hmm. The idea is to up the tension of when someone's down.
Well, that creates a lot of, imagine if Matt Mercer had been rolling death saves for Vax'ildan hidden. And so they had no idea until the very end that he had died.
Yep.
That would be awful.
That's what makes the story a little more interesting.
Oh, wait, which house rule? The hidden GM? Oh, sorry, the hidden death rolls? Is it that one that you're saying? RX?
The other one that a GM, they had people like you that they're like, I'm not going to be okay with that. They don't want the GM rolling their death saves. Mm-hmm. They said, okay, you can roll your death saves, but then you have to text me what they are.
You're not sharing it with the rest of the table.
You're not sharing it with the rest of the party. Because the rest of the party doesn't know. If you're on the ground bleeding out, they don't know how bad you're bleeding out.
Unless they're screaming, I'm about to die! I'm like 2 minutes from death!
Oh, don't worry, I feel better now.
I think I'll go for a walk. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Starry Night. I will go look at that email.
I think fumble tables can be used, but the majority of fumble tables I've personally seen are far too punishing in the point of feeling, and that I've seen that as well. To where that's too bad. That's like
you're just
like
much. You're not that stupid. MERP was wonderful with fumble and crit tables. What's MERP?
I don't know.
That sounds like something I don't recognize.
Okay. Players can't roll lower than average health for their hit die.
Yeah.
So you don't take lower than the middle. Your number divided by 2. Free bonus feat at first level.
Oh, thank you so much, Joe DeFrogman.
Oh,
look, all of the avatars were happy there for a second. They did a little dancey dance.
Middle
thank
Earth
you for the follow.
Did the
Middle Earth role playing. Is that the precursor to the one? Because that's their new one.
Yeah, it would have been the older one, the older Lord of the Rings TTRPG.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, so we had a free bonus feat at first level.
Nice.
So you start off your character with a feat. Was another one that a lot of people used.
Well, and that's a foreign concept for us since we play mostly Pathfinder.
Where you start off with feats.
It's way older than the one. MERP is an extension to Roll Master, or should I say Roll Master.
For every action, there are 3 dozen chained tables to resolve.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yikes.
No. We're just going to go with the nope on that one.
All right. Next one was healing potions only taking a bonus action.
Yeah.
Or, and I liked this, having the choice, or you can use a full action, but then it does full max healing on your healing potion.
If you're going to take the full action.
Next was flanking, which is a variant rule from the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Which everybody uses, and I was totally shook.
Yep. The bleed condition. When a monster reaches half of their hit points, you can then add additional effects that only take place when they have the bleed condition. All the players now know, oh, sweet, we got him down to half level. It's very much like video game mechanic where you get the monster down to half and then suddenly it changes, its attacks change, and everything kind of amps up. Massive damage, where if you take damage equal to half of your max hit points, then you have there's a table you roll on, and then you have a lasting effect. Maybe your leg breaks and you can't move as far, your arm breaks, or there's some effect because you took that high of damage.
Your armor gets snagged on a rock and you're like, you can't move.
Or maybe it's that your armor is
broken.
Yeah. It's broken, and now your AC is decreased.
Yeah, no, that would make sense.
Exhaustion points when you hit 0 hit points.
Critical hits could decapitate or maim. Brutal. Yeah, I like that idea. Well, there's critical hit tables too, like.
Yep.
That people do.
Your armor breaks and becomes a sword.
Hey, some armor, when broken, could be pretty intense.
So Doom says, on topic of bonus action potions, I do recommend giving a bonus to Thief subclass Rogue if you do, as that's one of their main perks, is ability to drink a potion as a bonus action.
Oh.
Really?
I didn't realize that.
And this is where you get into the hard thing of, but then again, if that's one of their bonus, their things, then yeah, I would have them take some other perk, maybe an extra feat. Okay. Maybe
Good night, Starry Night. We're gonna be heading out here in a minute too.
Yep. Then we had crit effects on the positive and negative side.
Yeah.
The modified crit hits, to where if you crit, you do max damage plus 1 additional die.
Yeah.
So instead of rolling on that a 1 on your damage die and having that doubled, if you're on D8, you do 8, and then you roll an additional die and add that damage plus your modifiers.
Yep.
So no matter what, your crit will have
an effect.
Let's see.
There's a lot of you guys have the purple and black dragons. You know you can change them.
You can. Inspiration stacking.
I know we're going to be gone in a minute because we're almost at closing time, but just letting you know.
We had the inspiration stacking or the ability cards.
Thanks, Kyle.
Oh, yep.
Dreaded GM is live right now.
Help action for skills requires proficiency. So you can't, I'm going to help them. Are you proficient in it as well?
No. Okay, then you can't do it.
Yep. And then ignoring drawing and switching weapons. So you don't have to spend an action drawing your sword.
Or you're throwing stars or whatever. That's actually why I really like martial classes though, because they're especially monks, because you're not freaking drawing anything. You're just punching them in the face. what character, what show did I just do that I was playing Marshall?
It was the one where you did the homebrews.
Oh, yeah. I played a brawler, which is an old class in PF1 that somebody updated for PF2 and created a homebrew for it. And it was beautiful. It's so much fun. You're just like, hey, I've got fists. I'm going to fist your face.
It was interesting because it was like it's a fighter, so it's not a monk. It's a fighter, but fights with their fisticuffs.
Yeah, it's like they're a brawler. They are really good at fighting and fighting with other people. So that was fun. If you have any favorites of like homebrews or of home rules that you guys play at your games or your tables, please feel free to like shoot us a message. And that one actually is just rules as written. What is? You can draw or stow one item weapon per turn with no action cost. You can stow it, but it takes an action to pull it out.
Yeah. He says you can draw or stow. See, and as I've read, that's not the case. That's just something that everyone does.
Oh. Uh-oh. We have disagreement on the field.
Honestly, I don't know. These are just what the Reddit threads kept talking about and stuff like that. So
the referees have to discuss. Unarmed fighting is now fighting style for fighters. I freaking love unarmed fighting. Like, as a preferred martial class gamer, like, I prefer unarmed fighting.
I love Lost Tribes Gaming. Hey, Orc, there's a new joke going around. Have you heard it? Where did the five fingers, what did the five fingers say to your face?
Kapah! No, it's true.
All right. Oh, wow, we are past time.
We are super past time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Like I said earlier, if you missed TTRPG news, it will be live on our YouTube channel on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., which is when all of our Monday night stuff goes live. So like this whole episode and TTRPG news will both be available on our YouTube channel. I am updating the podcast with our actual play. So if you are interested in listening to us play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you can find us on all of the major streaming platforms, podcast platforms, under Party of 2 RPG. And I'm updating that real consistently. Like,
yep, there's a whole ton of new episodes.
I finally found a new way to do it that's a lot faster. Like, way faster. So I'm doing that now.
So yeah, if you're wanting to watch the campaign, but you're like, you know, I'm way behind, I don't know what's been going on, now you can just listen to it as a podcast, get caught up, and then come join in on Friday night.
Yep, and I am going to be guesting on Q Time's show Parliament of Owls on May 6th. So I will give you guys some more information when that comes up, but go check them out. And I guess we are going to be rating.
Yep.
As long as we do it right.
I think I will.
We don't do it very often, so it's like, it's kind of, yeah, whatever. If you do not like this channel currently right now, please give us a like, or not a like, a follow, so you can stay up to date on when we go live. So hit the follow, hit the notification bell.
And if you want to support the channel, please subscribe. And then we're going to go and stay on. We're going to go see what Dreaded GM is up to.
What is the Dreaded GM doing at the moment?
Oh no, it's dreadful. Oh no. And we are going to. So remember. And remember. It only.
Oh no! Sensei Suplex just rated us.
Sensei, we're
getting off right now. Honey.
We're about to go raid.
I love you though.
So why don't all of you.
So much. Thank you.
Sensei Suplex. Come join us together as we all go forth to raid the Dreaded GM.
Good night, you guys. Mwah.
And remember, it only takes two.
Have a good week. Maybe.
Let's see if I can raid right. It says we're ready to raid in just a couple seconds.
I don't know. We don't know what we're doing.
We never get this thing right.
I'm never sure if we do this right. Okay. Are we raiding now? Yay! Maybe?
And then the guy comes here.
And you can stop the stream.